I know, I gotta cut it. It's too long. I gotta cut it. I am so off center. Okay. Welcome back to another possible episode of I Read You Stories and hope you enjoy them. I don't really have a life rant to go on right now. I mean, not one that I want to share in this minute because I'm still sort of getting over it, but I would like to read you this story. Shit, that's such a bad intro. That's so suspicious. Okay, so there's something going on, but I don't really want to get into it right now. It's too fresh. I need to deal with it first before I can externalize it. I don't know, maybe I'll make a whole separate video about it, but today I'm doing a reading. And I'm reading a Movellas story by someone I've known for a really long time on Movellas. His name is currently 3 Second Luke, but when I knew him his name was Luke JR, which I'm assuming are his initials. And of course I'll have all his links in the description. Now, what's interesting about Luke is that he's been on Movellas for ages. If you've been on Movellas for longer than like 5 years, you'll know that male writers on the site are very scarce. It takes a long time to find them. And I actually had a group list at one point, like a user list at one point, that was just called the Endangered Species of Movellas, because there were so few male writers on the site. So I'm really happy to share this story with you. And I hope that, you know, you'll go and follow Luke. He's a really nice guy, and he often leaves very insightful comments on stories and on mumbles and what have you. Luke, I do have to say that I don't have a lot of criticism. I do have a lot of like reviewing, but not too much criticism. I'm only going to be reading the first chapter of Dust, which is called The River of Uncertainty. And I have a few things that I want to comment on, but nothing really to criticize. I don't think I've gotten far enough into the story to actually criticize anything. I think that it's, off the bat, I think that it's a very well written piece, which was kind of why I was kind of pussyfooting around and not really knowing if I want to review this, because there isn't too much to review. But you requested it, and I've known you a really long time, and I feel like I have to do this, so I'm going to do it. And I'm happy to do it, because it's a really good story. So yeah, without me spewing any further, I'll get right into this. I don't know if you can see that my screen is like flashing in my glasses. Yeah, it's because my phone... I need to get some real equipment. I've changed my setup because I'm feeling really cold. It's been raining outside. I'm all over the place today. I'm so sorry. I apologize in advance, and I hope you can forgive me. Please, I will leave a timestamp below. If you didn't fast forward this, I love and appreciate you so much. But I would recommend that you fast forward this bit, because Jesus Christ. Okay, so we're going to get into Dust by 3 Second Luke. Chapter 1, The River of Uncertainty. Dust. From ashes to ... Short-sighted, blinded by those who wronged her. Her short memory span stopped her from thinking about those she once loved. Two shadowy hands held together in a lonesome night, with a thick vial of ink left to sit in the darkness. Shortness known as a downfall, a spiral that takes hold of those prisoners without letting anyone slide through an open space. Whether it be man, whether it be woman, these are ones who always perish first. Women were trained in dim-lit rooms. Their sight would rely on a brighter light that shines upon them. Every night would be a night of forgiving, where they'd all join hands trying to forget their endless mistakes. The night had approached them, left some scars behind. A woman with her robe torn from her shoulders to her chest. They watched on as others escorted out of the darkness. They watched on as others were escorted out of the darkness, leaving behind children to drag themselves to a brighter light. The men were nowhere to be seen, just countless women being taken by the sudden changes. A shadowy cloaked figure would appear every night to take one woman, one child, and a dying elder across a lake of uncertainty. No voices were ever spoken at night. It was a wonder to how some of the wretched humans knew what the cloaked figure voice resembled. Others left to shake in fear, frightened of the shadows. One dying elder recalled past events that led to their own family being eradicated from this place not known to them. Whether it was a change of heart, or it was some kind of deed that had been left for others to suffer from. Nobody knew why they were being taken away at night. Not even the wisest elders knew about what happens to those who leave in the unknown hours. The bright room. Blessed by the elders who hold a candle to the flame that burns away flesh. These beings were among the shadows that approached them at night. Shortness was a well-known word amongst them, and at no point did they ever dare to speak to each other. Their communication was passed around by those who held a light. This bright light would reveal the faces of those who shrouded themselves in darkness. Dying light was something that would be gifted to an elder who suffered the most, whilst a young elder would be dragged away towards a pool of dyed liquid. On the same night, another woman was dragged towards the pool that lit up by dim-lit candles, her hair being torn off by a bulky figure that approached her without a sound, her baby taken by a shadow that followed behind her. It screamed out for its mother, crying like they all do. The elders watched on as the horrific events unfolded, leaving the mother to be drowned in a pool that had no end as far as they were aware. This watery grave was known to the elders, to a woman shrouded in darkness. It was a surprise for them all. It would always leave a child behind without any knowledge of where that child had disappears to. The elders would take the drowned woman towards a room that nobody knew existed. Motherly love. I beg for her life to be saved. Foreshadow on myself to become the greater kin. I miss the times where she was safe. On that very same night, another woman had given birth to 2 babies that were taken by the shadows. As she watched her first baby be thrown into a large sack, the second one was taken by the one who travels across the river. She wasn't told anything. No words were spoken that night. She cried, as the others showed no remorse. No empathy was given, no sympathy for her own losses. She was left alone in the darkness as her comfort. This was all she had left. After crying for what she believed was hours, a creature with a long spine approached her. Her eyes dilated. She could not believe what was in front of her. The other women watched on as the curtains closed. It was uncertain. Nobody knew whether she was taken away. Others had thoughts that the curtains meant the end, but they recalled back to the other night, when the events had taken place. A crying mother is left alone, while the baby suffers the worst fate. They only believe in such tales. It's all make-believe. The more intelligent minority believe that the baby is safe. The creature that had left the night was only witnessed by a few grieving mothers. A nightmare that happens to live beside you is what takes hold of your sanity. It wasn't long until another woman was taken by the very same creature that left at unknown hours. This woman started to count down from a number she recognized most. Within this time, the creature had left her to freeze in fear. Unknown to her, the baby she believed was born did not exist. A bright light lit up the darkness for a split second. As she caught a glimpse of a close relative known to her before the past events. If she is not saved, then recall my concern. I breathe the souls of others. I take in the guidance you give them. Rebirth is what I believe. Rebirth is my love. Gender identification. Passage. Paragraph 9. I believe that there is a place that is holy. This is the world we live in. Recall my intentions. I remove my own skin for the kindness of others. Believe in a better world. I follow the darkness that ensnares us all. Blinded by the bright lights, I give in to the souls above. Foreshadowing my events, I recall you on being my father. You were known to me as the unholy one, but I soon put out your flame. This was my mistake, my own choice that led to my own demise. It's suitable for us, I believe. I believe in a better person. Paragraph 11. Shaking its hand while I knew that the emptiness you unveil is what is hidden from us all. You hide secrets in the emptiness, the nothingness that exists inside of you. All of your mistakes are hidden too. You hide your shame. You hide a murderous life behind you. I shall find the truth. I shall believe in a better life. You are the emptiness that we all have inside of us. Staring into you is like staring into a mirror of ages. It changes with time, but uncertainty brings us all to fear what is unknown. The river of uncertainty. Written in stone among the walls of screams, the people walk away with their shoulders held higher than usual. Skeletons float in the lake on the other side. It's approachable by the elders. Their robes, never torn, reveals the truth of why the river flows towards the lake. The uncertainty is the faith of those who believe in such a fate, whether they could consume the restless souls of others, once taken by the shadows. The river leads to other unknown locations. There is no knowledge sculpted on the books. There is no words whispered by anyone who knows something. Nobody knows anything. It's all uncertainty on whether anyone knows anything. So if that wasn't a ride, I don't know what is. Like I said, it's... I mean, what do you say? There isn't much to criticize here. It's really good. I would say it's really confusing, but I know there's more to the story. I don't know if it's completed, but I know that there's way more to the story. This is just the first chapter. I mean, to point a couple of things out, like I can see like a lot of really well crafted descriptive language and emotive language to really make you feel for these like unnamed, unknown characters. And those like nameless characters put us in an uncertain space anyways. Like we have no idea what's going on. We're unclear of the setting, we're unclear of the characters, we're unclear of who the first person is, you know, in paragraph 9 and paragraph 11. It's all a mystery, and that's what sort of makes you want to read on. There was a fair bit of sibilance. Like, you use the letter S, like, almost in every single sentence. It's like, it's so repetitive how many times you've used the letter S. And I don't know if you did that intentionally, but it's so clear to me, especially in the first paragraph. Like, I underlined how many S's there are in that paragraph, and it's probably going to come out upside down, but, or sorry, mirrored. But, like, if you go to Luke's story and you read that first paragraph, there are so many damn S's in that paragraph. And I think that signifies the sort of, like, S sound. Like, it's like the shh, like the sound of the lake, like the, you know, the shivering people who can't do anything, like the sound of screaming even. Like, it, and you also use the letter T quite heavily, which is like a proper contrast to the sound that S makes. T is like a very strong sound. So when you have a lot of that, you have a lot of like silence and then sharp sort of sounds later on, which kind of is the world you're describing. It really reflects the world you're describing very well, because there are moments of like frightened silence. It's not a peaceful silence, it's very, very frightening. And then you have sharp noises like screams, like crying, like, you know, people being drowned and whatever else we spoke about. And I find that really interesting. Again, I don't know if you did that on purpose, but it's, you know, you did it at least subconsciously. And I think that's really interesting. And I think that anybody who's looking for a good read should definitely check out this story, because I don't really have much to say. I think that starting like this, like very cryptically, is quite risky, because you sort of have to buy into the mystery to continue reading. But I mean, that is a creative choice that, you know, I'm all for. Like, I really enjoyed reading that, and I really enjoyed reading other parts of the story. So I hope you found this useful, or at least enjoyable, and I hope you go and read that story. Additionally, on another note, if you guys have any suggestions for what else I can do, I would be happy to receive those comments. If you have any criticism for me, I'm happy to receive those comments. Please like, subscribe, share. You know, come on. We're all millennials here. We know how YouTube works. If you like the video, share the video. If you don't like the video, make sure you dislike the video, you know? And I don't want to waffle for too long, so I'm going to turn this off. It's been nearly 17 minutes, so yeah, I think that's enough. And always remember that you can speed up every video that I post, so that I'm speaking super, super fast. I'm going to try and post this without any music to see how you will receive it, and hopefully you'll receive it well, because yeah, I would, you know, I really appreciate that some of you are taking, you know, time out of your day to watch this. I'm really happy about that. So yeah, goodbye, and I hope to see you next week.